The rain had been falling for 3 days straight, turning the city streets into rivers of regret. Sarah sat on the cold metal bench at the bus stop, her thin jacket doing little to shield her from the biting wind. At 24, she felt like she had lived 100 lifetimes, each one ending in disappointment. 3 months ago, she had lost her job at the local diner when it closed down without warning. Her landlord had shown no mercy, and within weeks, she found herself with nowhere to go. The small savings she had disappeared quickly on cheap motels until even those became unaffordable. Now, she carried everything she owned in a worn backpack that had seen better days. "I don't matter," she whispered to herself, watching people hurry past without so much as a glance in her direction. The words had become her daily mantra, a cruel reminder of how invisible she had become to the world. The bus stop offered little shelter, but it was better than the park where she had spent the previous night. Her stomach growled loudly, reminding her that the stale sandwich she had found in a dumpster yesterday was her last meal. Pride had kept her from asking for help, but pride couldn't fill an empty stomach or provide warmth on a cold night. As the evening grew darker, most commuters had gone home to their warm houses and hot dinners. Sarah pulled her knees closer to her chest, trying to conserve what little body heat she had left. The harsh fluorescent lights of the nearby convenience store cast long shadows, making her feel even more alone. That's when she noticed him. Marcus had been working double shifts at the hospital for the past week. As a nurse in the emergency department, he had seen more pain and suffering than most people could imagine. Tonight, he was finally heading home, looking forward to a hot shower and his bed. But something made him stop. Through the rain-streaked window of the bus, he saw her, a young woman huddled on the bench, shivering in clothes that were clearly inadequate for the weather. Most people would have looked away, convinced themselves it wasn't their problem, but Marcus couldn't shake the image from his mind. Against his better judgment, he got off at the next stop and walked back through the rain. Sarah was startled when a shadow fell across her. She looked up to see a tall man in scrubs, his face kind but tired. In her experience, when strangers approached, it rarely ended well. "Hey," Marcus said softly, crouching down to her level. "I'm Marcus. I noticed you've been out here for a while. Are you okay?" Sarah's instinct was to lie, to say she was fine and waiting for someone. But something in his voice, genuine concern without judgment, made her hesitate. "I'm okay," she said anyway, her voice barely audible above the rain. Marcus nodded, but he could see she was anything but okay. Her lips had a slight blue tinge, and her whole body was trembling. "Listen, I know we don't know each other, but there's a 24-hour diner about 2 blocks from here. Would you let me buy you a hot meal? No strings attached, no questions asked. Just one human being helping another." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. When was the last time someone had shown her such simple kindness? "I can't pay you back," she whispered. "I'm not asking you to," Marcus replied, taking off his jacket and gently placing it around her shoulders. "Sometimes we all need a little help. And sometimes, we get to be the one who helps." The diner was warm and bright, a stark contrast to the cold, dark streets. Marcus ordered them both hot coffee and a full meal for Sarah. As she wrapped her hands around the warm mug, feeling sensation return to her fingers, she began to talk. She told him about the job loss, the eviction, the string of bad luck that had led her to that bench. Marcus listened without judgment, occasionally nodding or offering a word of understanding. He shared that he had grown up in foster care, bouncing from home to home, and understood what it felt like to feel unwanted. "You know what changed everything for me?" Marcus said as Sarah finished her second helping of soup. "A teacher in high school told me that my circumstances didn't define my worth. That even when I felt invisible, I mattered to someone." Sarah looked up from her food. "But what if you really don't matter? What if you're just nobody?" Marcus leaned forward, his voice gentle but firm. "You matter to me, right now, in this moment. And if you matter to one person, then you matter, period. As they talked, Marcus learned that Sarah had been studying to become a veterinary technician before her life fell apart. She had always loved animals, dreaming of helping them heal. He also discovered that she had been too proud to reach out to the few distant relatives she had, convinced they wouldn't care. Before they left the diner, Marcus did something that would change Sarah's life forever. He didn't just offer her money or a place to stay for the night. Instead, he listened to what she really needed. "I can't solve all your problems," he said, "but I can help you take the first step. My friend runs an animal shelter across town. They've been looking for help, and with your background, you might be perfect for it. It doesn't pay much, but it comes with a small apartment above the shelter." Sarah stared at him in disbelief. "Why would you do this for me? You don't even know me." Marcus smiled, remembering his own dark nights when kindness had seemed impossible to find. "Because someone did it for me once. And because you deserve a chance to matter, not just to me, but to yourself." 6 months later, Sarah stood in the same spot where she had once felt invisible and worthless. But now, she wore the uniform of the animal shelter, her pockets filled with treats for the dogs she cared for daily. She had her own small apartment, a job she loved, and most importantly, she had hope. The bench was occupied by someone else now, another person society had forgotten. Sarah approached slowly, remembering how it felt to be seen for the first time in months. "Hi there," she said gently, offering a warm smile. "I'm Sarah. I noticed you've been out here for a while. Are you okay?" The cycle of kindness continued, one unexpected moment of compassion at a time. Because sometimes, all it takes is one person to prove that you matter, and sometimes, you get to be that person for someone else. In a world that often feels cold and indifferent, Sarah had learned the most powerful truth of all: kindness is contagious, hope is resilient, and everyone, absolutely everyone, matters.